if you do not want to be captured by the recording, you can, of course, turn off your cameras, mute your mics. But then we also would love for this session to be highly interactive. So we want to see your faces. We want to understand, are the conversations really syncing with you? So we would love to actually have your cameras on if you can. So, of course, for reduced noise on the session, we would appreciate if your mics can be muted. But then, if you have any questions, you can always use the raise hand feature, or you can drop your questions in the chat section, and we'll be monitoring that to share, as we proceed. And then do not forget, really important, we would love for you to follow us on social media platforms. That's LinkedIn, X, post about your experience so far with Platform Explorers, your experience, what you feel like, what your take home is from today's session, especially. And then, make sure to tag, our panelists, tag Rachel, myself, and just network, really. So yeah, thank you. So just a bit on our agenda for today. First, of course, the obligatory about Platform Explorers for our friends in the house who this might be the first time you're getting to, connect with Platform Explorers, just to touch bases on what we are and what we are trying to achieve. Then would be going into the real deal for today, which is introducing our panelists and then the panel discussion, right? We would really love for this to be interactive. So if you have any questions, like I said, please do raise your hands. You'll be given a chance to talk. Would actually have a dedicated questions section, maybe towards like 10 minutes towards after the entire panel discussion and all of that. But then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, we would also be monitoring the comment sections. So you can always drop your questions in there as well. Now, going into it, just a bit about Platform Explorers before I hand over to Rachel, who would be moderating the panel discussion. So Platform Explorers, we are like really new. Well, literally like a baby community, but then Platform Explorers was created as a joint vision by Rachel and myself. So we both resonated on the fact that, there was a difference between learning new tech skills in like online platforms or in the classroom and actually applying those skills to, real use. Now, we wanted to be able to, create a community where we get to connect, early in career professionals who are interested in tech, people who are trying to switch over to tech careers and all of that with, the real project experiences that helps them build confidence when they step into interview rooms. And then not just that, but then also to help in brand building, because we see that a major part of landing that dream job or getting started in what you really want to do is also how you portray yourself, the image people have of you, like what people think of you when they see your name, when they see your face and all of that, right? So that is what really sort of inspired us. So now the approach we're taking towards, achieving our objectives of, bridging the gap, from basics to breakthrough, building confidence, experience, and careers is really around, collaborating with industry experts and recruiters, to aim training sessions. We're currently in the, literally right in the middle of our first cohort at the moment. So, and we're having participants take part in actual use cases. If you've been following us on social media, you would see some of the links, some of the work that has been done by our students so far. And it's been really brilliant, to see the amount of dedication people are putting in. And we're trying to help them build that portfolio, right? While also trying to understand their own unique experiences, their own unique skills. And then, it's very much a learning exercise on all parts. Even our coaches are learning very much from, the individuals that they are coaching. And then we're also having, CV reviews, providing job application tips. Would actually be kickstarting that part of the cohort from this coming week, right? And then we also conduct like, mock interview exercises, and also, sessions like this one where we are bringing industry experts that we have in the room today, right, to meet with our participants and just help boost, mentees' confidence for interviews and help build that reliable professional network as you embark on, your new journey or your new, jobs. So yeah, that was it. Now, on to the real thing for today. Meet our panelists. I'm really excited about this, panel, this particular panel, because both panelists I have gotten to work with closely in the past. First, of course, I have Abigal. Abby was, I do work with Microsoft at the moment. I'm a tech specialist at Microsoft, and I cannot mention my journey in Microsoft without mentioning Abby, because she was literally my recruiter throughout all the process, and she made the process really seamless. So it's a real pleasure to have you on the call today, Abby. And then, of course, we have Rapheal. Rapheal and I have worked, we worked closely at Avanade, and then also he's now at Microsoft Ireland as the Digital Cloud Solutions Architect. So he has like a wealth of knowledge. Our connection goes a bit deeper than that as well, but then don't worry, I don't need to share all of that information right now. So over to you, Rachel, to take us through.
Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to Platform Explorers and to our special guest speakers today. Thank you for joining us and happy weekend, everyone. Okay, so we want you to, while you are in the call, we want you to let us know where you're joining us from. If you can just drop it on the chat. And if you have any questions, please just drop them on the chat. And if you have any questions during the panel sessions, you can just unmute the mic or drop a message, and we're going to let the speakers know that, okay, this is the question you have. Okay, we're just trying to interact to learn more from our speakers. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, John.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I guess we'll do rounds of introductions,
Yeah.
yourself, then Abby, and then Raphael. So yeah,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Rachel. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and I work as a Dynamics 365 and Power Platform developer. And I'm going to give the mic ahead to the visual mic to our speakers to introduce yourself. So we are going to go first with Abigail. If you can please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all well. Thank you for making this call. Thanks for inviting me to this platform. Hopefully, we can inform or help someone when it comes to their career. So I'm Abby, essentially, right? My full name is actually Abigail, but I like to go with the acronym of Abby. And it stands for always be bettering yourself, right? I don't compete with anyone else. I compete with myself. And I think that's just how I am as a person as well. So from a career perspective, I actually studied IT, believe it or not, information systems. I wanted to actually be a game developer, maybe for Ubisoft or like for EA Sports. But unfortunately, at the time, they didn't have that. So I studied information systems, I started my career as a developer. And it just wasn't for me, essentially. I like working with people, I like working with technology, and I just couldn't see myself reviewing code all day, coding. And then I essentially fell into recruitment. Before I fell into, I think it started when I became a hiring manager, essentially. So that was obviously recruitment was part of that. And then I went full on into recruitment. I've got over a decade of recruitment experience. I think I started in an agency, did a short stint there for just under 2 years, and then went into a startup and then built my career from there. Yes, and I work for companies like Amazon, Microsoft, like one mentioned, IWG, which is, I think most of you people know IWG as Regis maybe, or Spaces. They're the world's biggest flexible workspace provider. Yes, and for a lot of other companies as well, mostly international companies like Explio. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Explio. Yes, but that's me in a nutshell, essentially. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
Thank
hi,
you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Rachel.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me on this call today. It feels
Thank
good to be able to. And hello, Abigal.
you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Hi.
Yeah, it's really good to be able to come on board to share my experience and talk about myself. I really appreciate that. My name is Rapheal Adebola Idowu. I am an engineer by profession. I studied electrical electronics engineering. I started my career in tech in the telecoms field, where I was opportuned to work with numerous telecoms operators like Ericsson, MTN, Globalcom, MCell, Vodafone, and the rest. And my career started like, I won't use the word a joke because I had some of interest in it. I really wanted it. And starting with Ericsson, I was more involved in radio antenna installation. But being a lazy person, let me use the word, I always find the easiest way to get things done. And I don't want to always be outside. So while I was with Ericsson, I realized, because doing radio network engineering, you need to be outside on the sites, traveling to different places, climbing the mast and the rest. So I developed interest in core part of the service, which includes integration, managing charging systems of mobile network operators, which will require me to just be in the office and on the system. So I left the field and I got inside the data center where I was managing clusters of servers. I became an infrastructure engineer, and it's been an experience. I worked with a couple of telecom operators as an integration specialist, where we manage value-added services, back end and front end for telecom operators. So long, let me put it forward again. About 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I switched into Microsoft Consulting, where I was consulting for SMEs. I was meeting small businesses, helping them migrate their business from on-premises to the cloud, making them enjoy the benefits of moving into the cloud. So I moved to Ireland, where I got a role with Avanade Ireland as a modern workspace consultant and engineer, where I was working with multiple customers across EMEA, across Europe. And later on, I left Avanade. I joined Microsoft as a digital cloud solution architect, where my role involves understanding customers' environments, assessing their premises, advising, architecting solutions for them, having them enjoy their cloud journey in the Microsoft ecosystem. So that's a little bit about me. And I guess as we go on, I will get to talk a little bit more about my
Yeah.
experiences. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to go fully into the questions, and we should all, like everyone, listen to our speakers, because they are going to be sharing a lot of gems on this call that you need to know. And my first question is that what are the top qualities you look for in a candidate for technology related roles? And this is for Abigail, especially when it comes to their CV or their resumes. Like, do you think that just their CV is enough to know that this candidate is the right person for this job? Hi, Abigail.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Good question, right? So if you think about the work, right, let's keep it simple. I like to keep things simple. I think it's very important. So the top three things I would say is leadership, soft skills, and technical skills. So leadership is very important because at the end of the day, it's all about growth. It's all about your mindsets, and it takes a leader to create more leaders. Anyone can be a manager. Anyone can dictate and say certain things, but we're looking at that. Can this person, if they had in the role, do they show that leadership qualities? When I say leadership qualities, are they a team player? Do they work after hours, and I don't mean because they need to work after hours, just because maybe someone is sick, for example, and they need to fill a gap. And then they don't necessarily want that recognition. So a leader always goes the extra mile. A leader always sticks up for their team. A leader is someone that can take accountability. Those are some of the traits that we look for. Also, from a CV perspective, we've seen, I'm going to say, I'm going to twist it around and do the opposite thing and say what we don't want in the CV, right? Is we've seen a lot of people write typos, you know. So it's very important to proofread your CV before you send it to any company. Also, make sure that there's keywords. A lot of these companies have ATS systems that pick up keywords. Um, Most of the time it's there, sometimes it's not. But I mean, some of the bigger companies where they want more efficiency in a sense of they want the candidates to go through a very quick interview process, they let the ATS system do that for them, and then in that way, your CV don't necessarily get in front of the right person. So very important. Don't include unnecessary information. So we've seen sometimes candidates, um, oh my gosh, they write unnecessary information like their ID or your passport number or their marital status or their age. It's completely unnecessary. Just keep it simple. Another thing is lack of work experience. And it goes with, for example, um, the important information that needs to be in there is and the keywords as well. So from a lack of work experience, don't apply just for a role, just for the sake of applying. If the role stipulates, we want someone or seasoned professional. That means someone that knows what they're doing. They can hit the ground running. For example, a seasoned professional can be anyone from a mid to a senior person. When I say mid, anywhere from 5 years and up, just depending on what the company sees as a seasoned professional. So take notes of the keywords when you do apply. Because if you're just going to apply for a role, it's going to go in the junk mail and people are just going to be like, oh, this person is not making the effort. Time to come, let's say in a few years' time, you're applying for the same role. They can look at the previous CV that's been sent and say, wow, okay, well, this guy obviously didn't take note of it the first time. Why must we give him another chance? So it creates that question mark. Other things, sorry, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Other things that's important to take note of, email addresses. Keep that email address professional. You don't send an email, and it needs to be correct as well. Sometimes you get the weirdest personal email addresses for people where they're like, hotbabe@gmail.com. And I'm just like, why? you know? Or I'm the bomb.com. So really, guys, keep it professional. Yeah, there's a lot of other information, that is important to look out for. But I mean, have a look at the job description. Jawbreaker. Good one. Yes, so be mindful, be attentive to details because that is what they're looking for. Does your CV follow a clear structure? Is this person showing career progression? When I say career progression, I would say sometimes someone applies for a role, but then they've only been maybe 2 months in the previous role and then 6 months before that. So hiring managers look at job hoppers as well. Obviously, I don't. I go in there, and I look at the CV, and I don't prejudge the CV because I always try to look for the gems, but just be mindful of how you structure your CV, how you word your CV. Does your CV tell a narrative? That's very important. Is your reasons for leaving in there? Is there unnecessary words? So, for example, if you're applying for a role, don't have 6 pages. Keep it short and concise. That is very, very important. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, and thank you very much. So for our listeners, most of them are just starting out their careers in tech, or they're just maybe a year or 2 years into their career. So there's something you mentioned that I want to ask about just to give a brief explanation on. What is ATS? if you can explain a bit on that. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, sorry. I was going to come to that, but good question. So, ATS is an applicant tracking system, right? So once you apply for a role, it goes into a system, almost like a CRM system, for example, um, and then that's how you track your progress. That's how the employer tracks your progress through the system that they use, which is why it's an applicant tracking system. There we go.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. So
You're welcome.
yeah, so if this is the first time you have heard about ATS, know about it now and do your own research. Okay. So the next question I have is for Raphael. And as a professional in tech, like what qualities do you think you have displayed in your current routes?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and see
Yeah.
you.
So before I continue with that, I would like to add to what Abigail said about the previous question. As regards your CV, you need to ensure whatsoever you are writing on your CV, it has to be as concise as possible, and it needs to reflect impact and numbers. Impact and numbers are really, really very important in your CVs because these are the things that really show the scale at which you worked, and also the amount of things you've really done. Like these are the key measurements to me that I feel I also needed to be reflected on your CV. I worked on a server that is managing 10,000 users. I worked with a customer that has 20 users. We made $20 as a result of my inputs. We're able to increase our numbers from 20 to 30, but the numbers needs to really show in your CV, and it needs to be as concise as little as possible. So yeah, that's my little addition to what she said.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
as regards my question, please can you ask once more? I think.
Yes, sure. Yeah, definitely. So the question is that, like, how are you able to stand out both in your previous and current role? I think somebody has their mic on.
I think someone has their mic on.
Yeah. Sadiq, can
Sadiq?
you please mute your mic, please?
Yeah, so as regards that, I think the key basic component of those things is wanting to do this tech thing. So I got to realize that a lot of people always end up doing tech just because they want to make some money. They are really not interested in the core value adding purpose of tech. They just want to get things done and really make quick money. So what I will advise is, based on my own previous experiences, I was able to I really wanted that thing. I wanted to add value. I wanted to love the whole process. And I was involved in different things, from networking to database management to programming to infrastructure deployment and management and all of those things. So different things keep coming at me, and I didn't say no. I was showing I was ready to really learn more. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know more. I needed to understand, okay, what is the future of this role I'm currently I'm doing? Does it have a future? Does it have any hope or skill that can really be generic in future or in other roles? And also, you need to also understand that the work you are doing is not the kind of work where you feel like you are helping your employer. You need to also always understand you are helping yourself, and also you are building yourself. So when I started my career, like I mentioned earlier, I started with Ericsson, where I was a radio network access engineer. I realized anybody can do radio, anybody can install microwave antennas. We even employ vendors to get these things done. I will be redundant at a point. Apart from going outside and being under the sun, there is so much that can still be learned. We even had vendors we bring in, people that didn't really finish school, people that didn't really have the skill. You just tell them, mount this thing, and route, point the direction of this radio to somewhere, is going to get signal. It's what anybody can do. So it's going to get you relegated on the long run. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I need to get to do better. I need to get to be on the desk in the data center to understand how all these things are connected. So you need to be inquisitive about your plans, about everything that comes along your way. So that's when I now move from the radio part to the core, to the core part, which is the infrastructure part, the IP routing, switching, operating system, upgrade, installation, and setting up of infrastructure, complete infrastructure, getting to do more. So the fact that I was able to do that, I was able to get more opportunities, and also I was able to meet new people in different roles, and I was not always scared to ask stupid questions. I used the word earlier saying, because I'm a lazy person, that's why I left the Radio Access Network. And there's one thing about lazy person. A lazy person does not really mean the person is lazy. It means you are mentally smart, because you always find there are two types of laziness. There's the mental laziness and there's a physical laziness. The worst one is the mental laziness, where you are not ready to learn. You don't want to adapt any new changes. You don't want to learn any new skill. You are scared to talk to people. You don't have, it's difficult sometimes because people have imposter syndrome, where they feel they don't belong in a clique, probably because you just started your career. You're thinking, oh, this career, will I survive this career? Everyone once had that experience. I've been in this field for about 15 years now. And I can tell you, I grow every day. I watch myself grow every day. I've been with a manager before that almost tried to hit me with something, with a mug. Yes. Like, why am I so slow? Why are you so slow? Why are you not getting this thing? And I got to realize what the message this man was trying to pass was because I was getting distracted and I was scared for no reason. I was not really paying, I was having imposter syndrome. I was not feeling like I really belonged there. I was feeling it's such a big deal. So at a point, I got to get a message, and that was actually wrong of him to do, but it sent another signal to me entirely. So I was able to take time to work on myself, get the best done in any field I find myself. Anything I'm doing, I'm always trying to find the best way to get it done. So that's where I said, lazy people always find the easiest way to get things done. So it does not mean they're actually lazy, but they just want to leave that thing. They want to get it done and move on. So for instance, there was a time I was working on some servers. I was managing servers all across Africa. It was almost 100 units of clustered Linux service. And I was extracting data. I was writing SQL queries all the time, pulling in data from all of these databases. And I had to present this data. I'm talking about millions of data. If you use an Excel sheet to analyze this data, sometimes the thing will just be loading. It will never finish loading. It is a lot of data where you have to analyze, you have to talk about it, you have to measure the trends. So on the long run, I realized if I miss a day out of this data collection I'm doing, I will definitely have 5 days to cover up for the previous day I missed. And it was taking my whole life and time. I had to find a smart way out. I had to write a Python script. I used YouTube to learn how to write basic Python scripts to extract this data, to move this data from a server to an FTP server. An FTP server is like a server where you store files from other server. And I was able to write another code to filter this data I'm extracting into what I really need. So it really became so simple that the things that takes me days to do, I get these things done in 5 minutes. The moment you run the script, you change the date in the script, it's automated. At a point, I was getting an automated email from all what I used to do. So I was ready to learn to get things done the right way. And the right way can always be very, very difficult. That's why everyone is not always wanting to take the right way. Everyone knows the shortcut, which is reading and studying. I had to declare war on myself to know some things that I never knew. At the end of the day, I think that's how I got here. because every day of my career, I was facing different challenges, I'm not really a programming person, so I don't want to confuse anyone here. I don't like programming. Like Abby said, I don't like it because it requires pure dedication. I have a life to live and I don't want to be that dedicated. I want to do something that I will enjoy doing. Being honest with you, I feel happy waking up to go to work. I don't know if anyone feels that way. I don't used to feel that way, actually. I look forward to, oh God, because the work now has become part of me. Before I used to feel scared, and that is the imposter syndrome I'm talking about. The fear of even talking to people, the fear of networking with your peers, the fear of networking with your senior colleagues. And that's one thing Ericsson gave me. Ericsson gave me something like, we are all the same, regardless of the rank. We are all the same. Feel free, because if you are not free, you will never be able to learn. You'll be scared. Is this question too stupid to ask? Yes, it's stupid. Ask the question, because if you don't ask, it's going to make you look stupid if you make the mistake. So it's actually the right way to go. Joining Microsoft couple of months ago was not something I really planned for. I have been doing Microsoft solutions. I've actually done almost everything in tech, almost everything. So there's nothing to talk about in tech that I don't know. Even if I can't do it, I can call somebody that will get it done. So joining Microsoft, that was not something I really planned to do. My previous job was a very, very beautiful job. I'll pick your question soon, Joanne. It was a very beautiful role, but it got boring at a point. I was getting paid. I was really getting paid, but I do the same thing every day. Every day, I do the same thing every day. I was doing the same thing for almost 2 years. No, not almost 2 years. For 2 years. And it was getting boring. The technology is improving, things are going on, and I can't really catch up with the trend. So I had to resign. I resigned from the job, and I had to look for another job. I could take that risk to resign because of the wealth of experiences I have gathered, and because I've been able to beat the imposter syndrome, the sense of not belonging in a team, the sense of not being able to work on something. Don't forget, this product you are working on, this solution you're working on is provided by somebody like you. Forget their name, forget Bill Gates, forget Jeff Bezos. They are human beings. They are just different because they are able to face their fears. And if you can always try to develop that, canceling imposter syndrome from our mind and our careers, I believe the sky is our limit. So that's, I hope I didn't take too much time.
No, it's fine. We learned a lot from you. Thank you very much. Hi, John.
Yeah, so I just wanted, thank you so much, Rapheal, for giving us a detailed description of your career and what you feel has brought you so far. So I think my question would now be towards Abby, right? So following up on Ralph's experience, because you've highlighted on the, the technical skills, trying to, overcome the imposter syndrome and all of that, right? So, but then for you as a recruiter, aside do you only focus on the technical skills, or how else do you assess whether a candidate is a good fit culturally, for an organization you're recruiting for?
So before you go into the interview, you're obviously going to apply for the role. It's important to know the company's vision, mission, and values, right? Because that would ascertain if you're a culture fit or not. When it comes to the values of the company, are they open? Is it about integrity? Is it about collaboration? Is it about teamwork? So those are the things that we look for when we interview candidates. I'll give you an example of teamwork. So when we interview someone, the way in which we do this, we'll ask about, tell me about the time when you worked in a team and how you contributed towards the success of the team, or how did you guys overcome challenges, because then that will be able to make us understand, okay, this person's a team player, they maybe went the extra mile, they maybe assisted a team player that didn't understand something. So that's one of the values of the company, for example, that's being ticked off. A value of a company or a vision of a company is, for example, they want to make the world a better place. Okay, so is this person empathetic? Are they kind? You can just tell by how they answer questions in an interview, and that relates to culture fit as well. So I think before you apply for any job, make sure that you understand the culture of the company. Outside of work, what do they do? Do they do community initiatives, NGO, NPO work? Do you see them going out there into the community and maybe going the extra mile? Do they give as well to the world, or do they just talk the talk? you know it's very important to understand that when it comes to culture fit as well. It's again about soft skills. It's about listening. Does this person understand what they're being asked? So how do they respond? Do they ask questions? Are they curious? How do you ascertain if they're curious? By asking questions. Sometimes you don't understand something. And like Ralph said, be bold, be you, be authentic. If you're not transparent, we'll be able to pick it up. Oh no, why did you leave your previous company? Because, and they start waffling and they just don't make sense. You can pick up immediately, no, something is not so nice here. They're not being completely transparent. So just be honest, when you interview companies. Maybe you made a blunder in your previous job. So what? What did you learn from that? Are you showing growth? Are you showing transparency? That's important. Those are the things that tech companies are looking for, or companies in general as well. And if you make mistakes, own up to those mistakes, And when we ask you these questions, say, this is the mistake I had, or this is what happened in the situation, this is what I did to better it, But it's about taking ownership, and companies like that. Especially, there's a lot of tech, and I say this because there's a lot of tech startup companies. How do they become better? Because they make mistakes. If you make mistakes, you learn from mistakes. So we also want to see, has this person learned from their mistake? That's very, very important. So trust, integrity, teamwork, asking the right questions, communication, being short and concise, clear and concise. And also culture fit is another thing of how long are they actually staying in their previous roles. Once they get bored or once they just feel like giving up, do they just leave in that sense, or do they show resilience? Because a lot of startup companies or IT companies are looking for that resilience. Are you pushing through that challenging, trying times? What are you doing? Are you being persistent? Are you continuing that race? Because we know the hare doesn't always win the race, it's the tortoise, because they stayed. They were strategic in their approach. So those are the things that we look for.
Okay. Hi, John.
No, go ahead. Sorry. That was a perfect answer. Thank you. Thanks, Abby.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abby. That was amazing.
Thank you
so much. Okay, so the next question I have is for both panelists. Okay, so the question is, like, in the tech world right now, they talk about the importance of networking. Like, you need to network. It's like it's hits on every time, networking. So how important do you think that networking is to getting a job role? And what advice do you have for one to build their network? Okay. I think, Raphael, do you want to go before Abby? Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel networking is everything. At least I learned that from my last role, where I was working in silos. When you're working in silos, when you're doing the work, but you are not networking with people. You are not making people. You are not meeting people. You are not really being seen. Like, you need to be involved with your team. You need to network with people, not just within your work, but outside work, people with same scope as you. And I will tell you, when I started, so when I'm using Ericsson, just know it was in my early days, I made a decision on my first day of resumption that this job I'm doing will be the beginning of the greatness in tech for me. And it was. I entered with a decision to meet people. I knew nobody. I'm just from somewhere in Nigeria called Ijebu, and what's they happen for Ijebu? Nothing is happening there. There is no tech, there is nothing, it's just politics and just normal life. And I got the opportunity to get to Lagos, and it's really a big space. So what happened was, when I resumed my job, I made sure everyone I meet, I greet them. I asked them, what do you do? This is what I do. My name is Rapheal. What's your name? So I try to know it is a lot of work, actually. It is a lot of work to do. And it was during this process that I met, because my job with Ericsson was not a full-time role. It was during my job with Ericsson that I met somebody that became a CEO in another company that now gave me my next role that taught me everything. Like, when these expatriates come around, I reach out to them. Hi, my name is Rapheal. How was your flight? It costs you nothing, actually. How was your trip? Hope you're good. And my peers, I don't know why, but I guess we are on different missions. They don't do all those things. They're just about learning their programs, understanding the network. But I want to network. I was networking so much that people knew me. And sometimes I used to say, I guess I lost that energy of networking. The technology is what you can learn. You can always learn technology. You can even know the technology and still fail if you fail to network. You need your boss to know you. You need your friends to, you don't have friends actually at work. You need to know that. You need your colleagues to know you. You need to be seen. In cases where they are like, they have a little thing to do, you need to always show up like, hi, I can take up this challenge. Hi, I can do this. I am here. Because networking is actually the core at the end of the day. Networking takes you everywhere. Even if you don't know it, networking will make you know it, because you will know you network with somebody that knows it, that will show you the way. When you are stuck, networking will make. There was a time I was on a roll. I don't like playing soccer. I don't even know anything about. I know soccer, but I'm not a soccer fan. I don't like it like that, because it gives depression when I used to watch soccer. I had to be going to play soccer with this guy. I wanted to like give up on the pitch, but I'm like, this guy will teach me what I need to know to survive on this role. So I tried to get to know the guy, and he was like, yeah, we play soccer every evening, every Thursdays and Fridays. And immediately after that call that day, I went to buy soccer boots. I can't play. I started playing. I was panting. I was tired, but I got so close to that guy, and I was able to get what I needed to survive. And so that helped me. So in every phase of my career, I try to network. I try to meet people. In fact, you need to network outside your work, because your work is temporary. You are permanent. Your career is what is permanent to your life. Your work is temporary. So you need to network. Networking is really, really key. Technology you can learn. Networking is that is a very good skill you need to have. And if you are very good at networking, I guess the sky is your starting point. And like, it's as important as the skill. And in most cases, it's even better than having the skill, because the skill, you can't learn networking online. You can't learn networking on Udemy or YouTube. It's an experience that you have to go through. But a skill is something you can learn. You need to learn. You can learn a skill. Just watch a video, you know how to shut something up or shut it down or install something. But meeting people, networking with people it's what you have to, it's your work. Nobody will do it for you. Only if you know this career of call tech is not something you're looking at, because like I said, people join tech for different reasons. You'll be surprised. A friend of mine reached out to me, was always stressing me out that he wants to do tech, and there was a time I told him in 2015 to get into tech. This guy refused to get into tech. I guess he made his money from another means, and I think he has lost all the money now. He now came back to me and he was like, he wants to learn tech. So I asked him a question. I'm like, before I invest my time, get you a laptop, link you up with people, are you sure if you see money now, you will not get, are you sure you continue doing this tech if you have to make money from another means? And the guy told me the truth. He said, no, he's not going to do that. He's going to do something else. So it means he was not really interested in doing that tech of the thing. So you can be that kind of person too. Probably you just want to do tech because of the name, tech bro, or there's money in tech. There's actually money in tech. But you need to want it. And the only thing that can make you show you want it is networking with people. Like you meet people, you stalk people, like people you stalk them, you try to show them, I am here, what are you doing, help me out. It's the way. So networking is key. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Raphael. Okay, hi Abby. Before we go,
let's not stalk, please.
Yes, please don't stop there. That's why I was laughing. Please don't stop there, Mo.
No, like when I was saying stalk them does not mean stalk physical, but you know what? Like you look out for the things they do, stalk their work. Like I believe every one of us, we all have people we look up to, and I'm sure the people we look up to, we always try to look for their next move, their next plans. It's not like you claiming to be looking up to somebody and you don't even know what that person is doing.
Yeah, I get your point. I get your point. Thank you.
You can even be looking up to somebody and not have any contact with the person, but you're being driven by what the person is doing. And the only way you can feel driven by it is because you also have, you share same values with the person. You want to be like the person. You want to do stuff like the person. So stalking is not like stalk them in real life, but follow up with people. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask 2 questions at the same time to Abby. Okay. So the first question is the networking part of it. So networking, like it's so preached about. So how important do you think networking is to one getting a job role in a company? And also the next question is that what are the common mistakes candidates make in an interview? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your question. So I think from a networking perspective, it's important to look at LinkedIn, right? From a professional perspective. That's a platform you need to use if you want to network with professionals, if you want a job opportunity, etc., etc. Going to LinkedIn, right? Going back to LinkedIn, I want to mention that it's important that your LinkedIn profile is set up correct. Does it tell a story? I know there's a lot of people, or I'm assuming there's a few junior people on this call, so you might not have that much experience, but it's important to list maybe the projects that you've been involved in, some work maybe that you've been involved in from a university perspective. What do you do outside of studying, for example, but relating to, for example, the CV or the technical skills, etc. So I'm referring to projects from that perspective. So very important, brand yourself for success on LinkedIn and on your CV. So both of that information needs to correlate. There mustn't be any discrepancies because sometimes when we look at the CV, we go and look at the person's LinkedIn profile as well. Sometimes you can see what type of posts they're involved in. Are they someone that fuels arguments on LinkedIn? So be mindful of your social media presence as well. Make sure that you're clear from that perspective, where no one can pinpoint and say, okay, this person, they might not be a culture fit because they're involved in stuff that doesn't correlate with our company values, for example. But going back to networking, don't be afraid to reach out. I'll give you a tip. So when you see a role, a junior role, you're going to see a lot of applications, in the ATS, whether it's the hiring manager or the recruiter, right? What you can do in order to stand out is to maybe reach out to that person, connect with them, and write a personalized message. When you connect with that person, you'll see you're only allowed to write a certain amount of words. Make that words short and powerful. That's very important because that will make you stand out from all of the other 100 CVs or applications that's coming through the pool. So networking is important. I also want to say that who you network as well is very important because it creates a mindset. It can create a mind shift as well. So be mindful of what you feed your mind because that can basically determine the output from a successful perspective. Very important. Going back, sorry, I just want to go back to referrals. Referrals are very important. It's credible for us because it's like when you send a referral, it's like, okay, here's a credible referral. We're looking at the person, we're looking at who they worked with before. There's a motivation behind it as well. And also perhaps a little bit of an ego because you're referring that person to the company saying, I trust this person to be able to do the job. So you're building that credibility. But also, besides that, it's also, I don't want to let this person, let's say you go into an interview with a recruiter or the hiring manager. I'm sure you don't want to let that person down that referred you. So you're going to put in extra work, extra effort. So that is also from a credible perspective. Also, referrals are important for us because we know those people are due to stay longer in a company as well because they don't want to let the person down that referred them. So very important there. And that person can vouch for the skills and experience, which is what I mentioned earlier on. Um, and then, sorry, Rachel, the other question you had was with regards to what we're looking for.
Like common mistakes that applicants make during an interview and how can they avoid it? Yeah.
Okay. So the common mistakes is first thing, be on time, guys, please. If you have a sense or if you know your piece is going to give you problems, rather go to a quiet place where there's hotspots or just do whatever it takes just to make sure that there's no interruptions. Also make sure that your background, there's no interruptions or distractions, when the interviewer interview you and they can see there's a lot of noise or stuff happening in the background. So make sure your background is professional. Don't be late. Be prepared as well. One of the most annoying things that can happen is a candidate applying for a role and they don't even know what role they applied for. They don't even know the requirements or what the role entails, what they need to do, etc. And we've seen that come up quite a lot, where candidates even ask you, can you please send me the job description? And you're like, okay, but you applied for the position. Why would you apply for something you know? So then that also creates this feeling of, okay, this person is just sending their CV out to any company. They're not mindful or they're not intentional in their approach, in their job hunting approach. Okay. Listening is also very important. So if, for example, I say, tell me a little bit about yourself from a non-professional perspective, listen to the words. And then they go on a tangent about, oh, okay, this is what I've done in my career. We are seeing from a non-work perspective. If you don't understand the question, always repeat the question. Say, do you repeat the question and say, I understand. Am I correct in understanding that you're asking me to maybe tell me about my hobbies and my interest? So get that clarification. If you don't understand something, don't be scared because that's showing that you're being attentive and that you want to answer the question correctly. So make sure that you answer the question correctly by understanding the question. Don't listen to respond. Okay, listen to understand the question that's being asked. It's very, very important. Body language as well, having that energy, having that enthusiasm. It's like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, okay, we'll monitor and answer the questions. Okay, yes. Elaborate. Again, be short, be concise, and be clear. Be professional, dress appropriately, be specific as well. It's very, very important to be specific. Um, and sorry, just going back to your LinkedIn profile, make sure that you have a professional picture. If you can't have a professional picture done, I mean, use a cell phone, use a selfie mode. Just make sure that the top parts of your head and shoulders look professional, look smart, smile, but don't go in there with having glasses on, I don't know, having there's nothing wrong with makeup, ladies. If there's ladies on the call, nothing wrong with makeup. But also, we don't want you to look like a different person when you pitch up for an interview and we're like, okay, but we thought something else, So we still want to recognize you. Very important. I also want to mention this because it's very, very important. There's obviously trends like AI that's going around, and we're seeing that a lot of candidates are getting these AI platforms to generate CVs for them. It's good that you're doing that, but also try and customize it a little bit, Don't let someone else do all the work for you because it's showing that you're not putting in the effort. It's very important to put effort in everything that you do because it will yield a result. If it doesn't yield a result right now, it will further down the line. I promise you.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, Rapheal, you have your hands raised.
Yeah, this question is for Heavy. And also, I believe it's going to help other people here because people will still go through it. I have two questions. And the first question is, the candidate got called for an interview, probably the first stage or the second stage. I won't use the word recruiters, or should I use companies? Why do they ghost candidates after having interviews? So candidates take the time to get prepared for an interview, and even if it's this person, sometimes mostly people put in effort, at least take some part of their precious time to prepare to meet you, because I have some experiences that I'm just going to share real quick, and you don't get back to them. Not even, unfortunately, we are not moving forward. Like, they ghost these candidates. It's a mental thing, because I've seen someone experience it, got interviewed, really drilled down on the interview, and they never got back to the person. I once interviewed with Google. They never got back to me. Google, yes, Google. I killed the interview in my own words. Like all these case studies, I did it well. I didn't get any feedback. No feedback till tomorrow. And a lot of people are facing these things, I'm saying, because it's demoralizing. And what can be the cause why these people don't get back to candidates, even to tell them they failed? And the second one is, must everyone have a LinkedIn profile to apply for a job? Because I don't used to have a LinkedIn profile. I didn't believe it. I deactivated it. Must someone always have a LinkedIn profile to get a job? So these two questions, if you can just quickly highlight on this for me. Yeah.
Good question. So I think it boils down to ownership, right? There's two types of interviews that you can most likely go for. Either you interviewing directly with a company or you're going through an agency, right? So agencies, I don't want to badmouth anyone. They just get a huge influx of candidates applying for roles, and it's just a situation. I'm so sorry, guys. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, so hi everyone. While we wait for Abby, if you have any questions, please drop it on the chat. We'll try as much as possible to either ask your questions to the speakers or to answer them directly inside of the chat. So if you have any questions, please just go ahead and ask your question in the chat. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back. It was just my daughter, my toddler, so I just had to attend to her quickly. Yes, so as I was saying, agencies get an influx of CVs, right? And they can't always get back to everyone. So sometimes it's not that they're intentionally not getting back to you. It's just because they just don't have capacity to not get back to you. But sometimes you also need to look at the advert and it's fine lines like towards the bottom where it will say, please note that we don't get back to you within 3 to 4 weeks of applying, that your application has been unsuccessful. So that's the other route that they do take. So be mindful of that. From my side, it's just sometimes they don't get back to you because there's just a long process. They're waiting on someone else. I always like to put myself in someone else's shoes. I believe feedback is very important, regardless if you are
It's
successful or not for
yeah,
the
it's
position.
yeah.
So each and everyone to their own, essentially. I'm not one of those recruiters, but I mean, sometimes things do slip because it's like, how would I say, a continuous cycle, you know? And yeah, that's to answer your first question. I can't,
Thank you.
that's just the gist of it. And then the second part, I mean, you don't necessarily need a LinkedIn profile, but again, it ties on into networking. If you want to network yourself, or if you want someone to headhunt you, it's important to have that LinkedIn profile because that's the starting point for a recruiter, for an agency, for an hiring manager, for anyone who wants to hire someone in a company, is to have a LinkedIn profile. Sometimes you don't even have to do work at all because you'll just attract those people based on what's on your LinkedIn profile. And in that way, you can actually land your dream role at your dream company, you know. So be smart in how you approach situations, how you brand yourself, be strategic as well. But yes, I'm sorry, I don't know why people don't always come back to you. They say, what is that saying? What you do to others will come back to you. So maybe if they don't
Yeah,
respond to you further down the line, they're applying for a position and that person doesn't respond to them coming back, then they will
it's
know what
it's
it feels like, you
it's
know?
really yeah, it's really it's a big deal because it's demoralizing and the person needs to also work. Because if you're getting back to me that I didn't get
Yes,
this interview and you tell me
yes,
why I didn't get it, I can get the chance to be better. I've had interviews
yes,
where I was told why I would not be getting this role. Like they told me point
yes.
blank. And guess what? I've been in an interview where I knew nothing about what they were saying. I was blank.
Gosh.
Yes, I because that I had 5 interviews that day. I was exhausted, and I done this interview, and they were asking me the basic questions, and I was lost. I'm like, okay, okay. So they told me right on the interview
Mm,
that you are not prepared for this role. We won't be continuing with you because this is what you actually be doing, but you don't seem to even know this stuff. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I really appreciate the instant feedback,
mm.
even before. So it's already prepared my mind
Yes,
to. And also sometimes I've had interviews because this is something that happens to people. I need people on this course to have this understanding of things that happen in real life. Real life is really wild. Forget it's job or tech. It's like a jungle. You see different things happening, and you need to be prepared for these things. I've had an interview whereby I was the last candidate. It was like 4 stages. I went to the office and they drilled me for another 2 hours with the HR, with everyone, and they told me to be expecting my offer. I didn't get any offer. Instead, I got, unfortunately, you are overqualified, something like that. And I've found somebody where this one was even a few days ago that the person said he got an offer, but they they refused to continue with him because the guy is in UK, that he doesn't have he's not been in the UK for 5 years or so. So there are some requirements that I feel the job posters should always include in their job posts before. So you as a candidate, you need to learn to read that job post very, very well. And sometimes we don't always have enough time to read, we just apply. And when you get called, try to go back to the posts you got called for and understand the requirements. If you meet it, else your heart might be broken. And it's very painful, you going through the whole process and getting turned down. So
Yeah. Thanks
that's
for that, Raphael and Abby. Just because of time, I think we can take the questions in the chat and then we'll probably, like, I'm so sorry that we're running a bit over the scheduled hours. I'm so sorry, guys. So just a quick question. So I'm taking Ugoma's question first. So she says, every job is asking for experience, but not easy to get one for an absolute beginner without any company experience, just self-practicing. Now, her question is, where can I get jobs for beginners without organization experience? What do you think, Abby? What would you say?
globally, there's a lot of companies that actually hire interns, So be mindful of that. They normally hire those interns in the beginning of the year, and that's mostly when those roles are available. I know throughout the rest of the year, it's not actually that much, but I mean, I think prepare yourself mostly for the beginning of the year. And like I said, there is a lot of companies that are looking for candidates without experience through internship opportunities. Um, Also, I mean, you get those opportunities on LinkedIn, on Indeed, and a lot of other platforms, but also it's again through networking. Sometimes you network with the hiring manager and they can say, well, we don't have an opportunity for you now, but maybe in a few months' time, we're hiring an internship, we have an internship opportunity. I will put you forward then or apply then or whatever the situation may be.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, Richard, you want to take the next question?
Yeah, we're just trying to hurry around it. Yeah. Okay. So the next question is from, I don't want to pronounce your name wrongly. So let me just go straight to the question. So I currently have 3 years of experience in Power Platform. I'm trying to branch out and gain more experience within the Power Platform. However, the job market seems very thin. Do you have any tips? I'm looking for Dynamics 365 entry roles, but again, it's quite scarce. Okay, I think I can give an answer to this. I'm in the D365 and Power Platform space. So for Dynamics 365, it depends on, I think from the chat, you dropped that you're joining the call from South Africa. So it depends on where you are. There is a lot of communities in South Africa when it comes to Power Platform and Dynamics. So I advise you to join those communities and connect. So from there, you're going to see job opportunities like people who are already in this role. If they have an opening in their company, they can let you know. Then apart from that, when it comes to D365 and Power Platform, it's more of a international role that you can get relocation. So if you go online, you don't have to search for jobs that is within your own location. Try and search for jobs like when you go to LinkedIn, search for worldwide instead of just your own location. Search for it that way. You're definitely going to see opportunities that involves relocation, like they're going to move you from where you are to another country. So you can start from there. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add to that again.
Yeah.
There's one thing we all need to understand. If you're looking for a job, it is a very, very tough situation to be in, and it's very, very emotional because that period is when everything will seem to be coming at you and it's exhausting. When looking for a job, please never stop applying. When you apply like you are addicted to Instagram, you will be sleeping. You apply to an extent where you know the things you can do, you filter out the jobs, and you need to keep applying actually, because some people will just apply for 2, 3 jobs and sit back and like they didn't get back to me. Before you know what's up, it's 2 years already. I apply for more than 20 jobs a day. We have millions of jobs according to different roles. You know what you can do, you filter by what you can do and by the location, your preferred location. You should never stop applying. Like you need to put in massive, and again, you'll be getting so much, unfortunately, emails. It's normal. I call them love letters because it comes to you when you don't expect it and it changes your mood. You will get so much, unfortunately, emails and it's demoralizing. You just need to keep doing it. You need to keep doing it. And you need to be alert on this job site. If you can do LinkedIn Premium will give you more options to have a better filtering. Like, for instance, the best time to apply for a job is job that is just posted earlier. I don't know, Abby, if I'm correct. The early applicant to apply for jobs that are posted on the same day and be among the first maybe 20 applicants. It means you need to be at the top of your game. You need to be online. You need to be hungry. Because if you don't do that, you won't get it. Being honest, my application to Microsoft, I've been applying since last year. When I left my previous company, this last job that I got, I've applied to more than 30 roles. The same thing, more than 30 roles. I was getting unfortunately. In fact, when I finished my interview, I still got unfortunately. When I got called for the role, I was still getting unfortunately from Microsoft. I'm still getting, unfortunately, from different companies that I have. And you need to always ensure your CV is aligned, that your CV is aligned to the role you are applying for. You can't just use one CV all the time. The Power BI role you are asking for, they have different descriptions at the end of the day. You need to be able to interpret that. So that might be one of the reasons why you're also not getting feedback. So consistency, you need to, don't be tired. That is where the work is. You need to be firing out applications on what you know you can do. It is tiring, I know, because I've been there. So that's just a little addition from me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have two more questions, this question and the last one. Okay, so the question is, I have mostly had this feedback from recruiters. You do not have enough experience, and that is why we are not going to take you for the job. This has driven me to keep upskilling myself. So what do I do in this regard? Because the fact is, I actually need to be employed in the role to gain the experience needed in the role I am applying for. So please, what do I do in this case?
Can I take this one?
Yes, please.
So I think the funny thing is, I believe that you've sort of even answered that in the comment section, because what happens is, in terms of experience, right? So especially as like an early starter and all of that, you may not always have so much to reference, but like picking on what Abby has shared, and then even Rapheal, in the course of this session, it doesn't necessarily, it's not just about your experience in particular to that role. A lot of times, you need to review the job description. You need to understand what exactly are they looking out for, and then look out for things that you have done in the past, that could possibly relate with that job description or that job posting. Then also important is why we have platform explorers, right? So build your portfolio. You may not have the experience, on the job, but then you have experience with a platform like, with the community like Platform Explorers, where you're building, where you have like your GitHub repository, and then you can always reference that, yes, I may not have worked with company XYZ for like 5 years and all of that, but then I have experience working on different type of use cases and, based on meeting this job requirement, right? So do not let, and sometimes like even if you don't get that particular job, don't let that get you down. Keep trying to improve yourself, keep trying to network and all of that. And then, you would eventually, and then of course, build your portfolio, which you can always reference. But yeah, I think that should help. Yeah, Rapheal?
Yeah, and another thing again is, I understand well about life issues. We all need money. We need to start to learn to do free jobs sometimes. Like it can be difficult, but for a starter, money should not be the motivation. Money is good, but the skills and the experiences you'll be acquiring, you can't buy experience. Like I said, you can never buy it. And these are the things this person interviewing you wants to see. If you have an idea, you can read those things online. But I'm telling you, if you don't have a real life experience, when you say it is going to be different from when somebody that has experienced that thing is saying. There are two different things. I've had someone that had an interview and passed it theoretically. This is somebody I know. And they got back to this person and said, so the person is also into tech and infrastructure, but the person has not had experience with that infrastructure. And the only problem that person had was because the person lacks a way to relate what they have done, to relate what I have done in the direction of the job that I'm applying for. So at the end of the day, the person got the feedback that, and this is an experienced person, but not in that field, that the person is only theoretical about it. They didn't get back to the person. And so for beginners, please, if you reach out to a company and say you just want to train, you don't talk about money. I know it's difficult. I'm saying it's difficult, but sometimes you have to declare war on yourself so that no external pressure will get to you. You have to just learn to do that free work. Do it for maybe 6 months. It can be online. You can just pick up If you reach out, I'm sure even every employer, sometimes they would like to get you to get some things done for them. To you, you are learning. To them, they might feel like we are using free service, but you are learning. Everything you are learning is what you will use. See, you can't escape it. There was a time I got a job, and honestly, I knew nothing about the job, but based on my networking and the rest of it, they asked me, how much do I want to be paid? Do you know, I had no figure in my head. I was like, anything you feel like paying me, just cover my transport. So, and I just need my transport to be sorted. And that was my best decision ever. I even got home because I was really young that time. I spoke to my dad. They told me if I'm feeling shy to talk about it, they gave me time to go. This is a job I've never done before. I had no experience. I could not, like, if they posted that job online, there is no way I would have. But based on my networking, I was called to come and so the person just said, I know this person does this and that. And they were like, how much do you want us to pay you for this role? I couldn't. So leaving the place and going home, my father told me, what do you think? And I'm like, I think I love this job. Whatsoever they have, let them just give. And I did that thing for 3 months. I did the job for 3 months. When they saw my inputs and my willingness to learn. In fact, that job, I had an opportunity. I was to travel out of the country, to relocate completely. But this job I got, I had to make that sacrifice to cancel that traveling plan just to learn and have that experience. And I'm telling you, 100 years from now, if I'm still available, I can still tell you that it changed the course of my career. It changed it. It's made everything. And if I'm having an interview with you today, there is no way I will not talk about those things I went through. So for 3 months, they were paying me 50K, 50,000 naira for Nigerian people that are here. 50,000 naira is less than $100 for what they were paying me. But it was good that time for 3 months. So after 3 months, they just reached out to me and they said they would like me to be on this role, to be a junior engineer with them. And the salary went from 300K to almost 500K. Back then, I was so happy because now they know, okay, this guy can learn. He's willing to learn. And my CV used to be very long based on the things I've learned. My CV was like 4 pages. I didn't know it was very long because I learned a lot. I was ready to do free service. So I encourage us to learn to do free service. That's all.
Not all the time though. Free service, yes, please.
Look, I have 0 experiences.
Yeah.
Yes, I encourage.
Important.
Yes, yeah, I mentioned that. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Abby. You had your hand raised.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you. Rapheal actually brought a very important point, right? And same with my career. There were many times that I worked for free. You know, I was a student. I went to school during the day. In the evenings, I worked. So, I mean, sometimes you need to just go the extra mile. And also when you do those, when you want to gain that experience, don't just say, go to any company. Be intentional in your search, right?
Yeah.
Think about the community that you live in. Is there companies, for example, that is struggling? Maybe they need help with their back end or something like that, and they don't have the funds, because we know tech is a lot of money. Maybe you can assist them, maybe you can advise them, and maybe it's even like a child welfare or something like that. Imagine what an impact you can do, right? So just think about the company that you want to go to from a shadowing perspective, or if you want to offer your services for free, make sure that you're intentional. Is there going to be is your work going to have an impact on that company? Because that is something that you can put on your CV that they can look at. Oh my word, this person came in, they did this for free, and this was the outcome. It's all about what is the outcome. And then the other thing I just want to say is work on sideline projects, right? Do freelancing work. You can get paid for it as well. it's a trend at the moment. So if you can, there's platforms that I'll share on the chat over here that is hiring people, from a freelancing perspective, from a consulting perspective. You can work your own time, your own hours. Yes, there is a deadline that needs to be done, but yeah, that's another way in which you can do it.
Thank you so much, Abby, and thank you very much, Raphael. This was a very enlightening session. We got to learn a lot from this session, and we have come to the end of this spotlight session. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And for those on the cohort 1, we want you to please complete your use cases post online. And also, if you have any questions, you can just post it on the group chats on WhatsApp. And for those who are joining us for the first time, please, if you can, hi John, if you can share your screen so that they can follow us on LinkedIn and also on Twitter. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all so very much. We are truly grateful for, your active participation. Thank you so much for, just I would say this has been a truly amazing, amazing session, to be honest. And like, I don't know if I'm speaking for just myself, but I've really learned so much. And then like, we really appreciate you both, Abby and Raphael, for like the wealth of knowledge that you have shared with us. And I'm sure everyone would be going back with so much, like everyone is going to be taking away so much from this session, so thank you. So on that note, I would just don't forget, please follow Platform Explorers on social media. Platforms. We're available on LinkedIn, on X, and then just a quick addition here as well. Sorry, I think I'm the excitement from today's session. I'm just all over the place right now. But yeah, a quick mention. The Microsoft is currently running an AI Skills Fest. It actually starts on the 8th of April. That's in 3 days' time, and it will run till the 28th of May. This would be an amazing opportunity for you to upskill, possibly be part in breaking a Guinness World Record, and then also grow your skill set with some free exam vouchers. So I'll drop the link to register in the chat. I would strongly advise on registering and taking part in this AI Skills Fest. So it's absolutely amazing. On that note, thanks once again, everybody. So sorry we went a bit over time, but I believe that everyone found the session really helpful. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
guys.
much.
Bye.
Bye.